Hello, good morning, and you're very welcome to today's webinar on education and teaching degrees at Maynooth. I'm going to just give it a few minutes, or a few moments I should say, to let a few more people join us. I can see we've already got 24 people joining us, and there's a few more coming in now, so we'll just give them a moment and then we'll start. So we're delighted that you could join us this morning, and I've got a panel here that I'm looking forward to introducing you to. So I think we'll get started. We have over 50 attendees. So thank you very much for coming along this morning. This is the Education and Teaching Degrees at Maynooth University webinar. We'll be going on for about an hour this morning, and we're covering 3 different programs: the primary school teaching degree, the secondary school teaching of maths, of science, of computer science, and also the early childhood teaching and learning degree. So firstly, I'd like to introduce you to my panel here this morning. So firstly, Niamh Fortune, who is looking after the primary teaching course. Hi, Niamh.
Good morning. Hi, Sheila.
Thanks, Niamh. And we also have Jack McCormick, who is a student of the Froebel primary school teaching. Hi, Jack.
Good morning, all.
Thanks, Jack. I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Zeren Tukancha-Kuchuk, who looks after the secondary teaching course, Science Teaching and Education.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks, Erin. And we have Joseph Hennessy, who's a student of Science Education.
Good morning, everybody.
Great. And finally, last but not least, Dr. Leo Toole, who looks after the Early Childhood Teaching and Learning course.
Morning, everyone.
And we will have a student of early childhood who will be joining us later, Antoinette Keeley. And Antoinette is actually at a lecture, so that's how dedicated Antoinette is, but she will be joining us in about 20 minutes or so. So thanks very much. And the format of this will be 3 different presentations. The Q&A function is open, so please feel free to type in your questions at any stage. However, we'll be starting with the primary school teaching presentation, and maybe feel free to type in any questions during that, but it'll be after that presentation that Niamh will actually answer. She'll type back those answers. If you would like to leave some of your questions till the very end, we can look at them then and call out all the answers. So I hope that's okay. And we're going to start then with primary school teaching, moving on to the secondary science teaching, and then moving on to early childhood. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you, Niamh.
No, thank you. Thanks very much, Sheila. I'm delighted to be here this morning, and hi to everybody. So I'm going to talk to you today about the Froebel department and the B.Ed and PM.Ed courses that enter in to become a primary school teacher. So my name is Niamh Fortune. I'm the B.Ed program leader in the Froebel department, and I teach in the area of literacy. So it's lovely to be here and to give you a little bit of an insight into our courses. So I'll just move on ahead there. We have 2 routes into primary teaching in the department. We have the B.Ed degree, primary, and we have the professional master's also, which is the Professional Masters of Education in Primary. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information today about them. So the entry requirements we talk about, first of all, we have our B.Ed there, which is, you can see on the screen, the entry requirements for the B.Ed, and it's a H4 in Gaeilge in Irish, O4 or H7 in Maths, O4, H7 in English. And just to give you an idea of the CAO points, around 499, but as I'm sure you're very aware, they change every year, and it's just to give you an indication of that. We also have a B.Ed mature route, which is for students who are at least 23 years of age. The minimum requirements are as above. Applicants attend an interview and an oral Irish exam, and applications are through the CAO. Okay. So just to give you an idea of the Professional Masters of Education so that you're aware of it, we also have a 2 years master's program, which is a level 9 qualification, and it's for students who have completed a degree. So to give you an idea of the entry requirements, there is 04 H7 in Maths, 04 H7 in English, and higher 4 there in Gaeilge. So you must have at least a 2-2 undergraduate degree. Applicants then attend an oral Irish exam, and they're interviewed, they also attend an English interview. So that's another route that you may have questions about for students who don't go into the BEd, but would like to do it in a different way. Obviously, those places are decided on a yearly basis, and we're not sure how many places will be allocated each year, so that does fluctuate. There's stiff competition to get into the PMed. Okay, so just to give you a little idea of our graduates are qualified from the Froebel department to teach infants to 6th class. It's fully recognised by the Department of Education and Skills and fully recognised by the Teaching Council. So the BEd, the Bachelor of Education, is a 4-year level 8 qualification. We're very proud of that level 8 degree because that's obviously required in a lot of schools internationally. So if you do decide to travel and teach internationally, that they recognise that level 8 degree. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Friedrich Froebel. You're probably wondering, where does the name come from? We're very proud of that name that we have on our department, the Froebel department. So Friedrich Froebel was a pioneering educator and philosopher, and we very much have his ethos and values in everything that we do in the Froebel department. He was a founder of the kindergarten movement, and it was very much about active learning, play, and the holistic development of children. So that ethos and those values are very much what we, I suppose, we use in all of the BEd and very much part of all of our areas of study in the BEd. And I think it very much in line with education today and the curriculum that children have today in primary school. Froebel was very much about child-centered learning, and it had very much child-centered principles, where the children, have that idea of active learning and learning through play. And so we actually do a lot of that in the Froebel department, where we have small numbers and the students have an opportunity to try out these methodologies in an active way. So that's where Friedrich Froebel came from. Hopefully you can see the two pictures there on the screen. One in the box there is what we call the Froebel gifts. And Friedrich Froebel came up with this lovely idea of the gifts, which he used to help education, to educate the child and to teach the child about the world. On the other picture, you can see a lovely creation there. I'm not sure if it's a house, a castle, or a hotel, but just to show you how very much Friedrich Froebel is alive and well today. And those blocks that you see on the screen are used in schools all around the country and beyond internationally. And so Friedrich Froebel came up with this idea of using blocks and what he called the gifts to develop children's, I suppose, holistic development. And so they're very much part of primary schools today. So they belong to the department, and you'll get a chance to build all sorts of things if you join us in the BEd. Okay, to tell you a little bit now about the BEd, we have what we call different strands within the BEd, within the 4-year course. The foundation studies are a huge part of that. So throughout the 4 years, you study the subjects that you can see on the screen there. So psychology, language study, the way children learn language, history of education, Froebel will appear that course, the philosophy of education, sociology, and inclusive education. So all of those subjects are throughout the 4 years of the BEd, and you study them throughout the course. Strand 2 there, you can see a little photo of our, I'll talk about that now in a second, of our Froebel department. Strand 2 then are the competencies, which is building students' own confidence and competence. And we are very proud of the fact that we nurture and scaffold students in a very supportive way to develop their own English, Gaeilge and maths. So when the students enter, they start a course throughout the 4 years then to develop these skills, a lot of research behind students' own teaching in these areas, and they need to have their own competence and confidence in them. We also have other electives to enhance the competence and confidence in other aspects of the curriculum, and that you choose into. So when you come in first year during induction, we ask you to sign up for other electives. So it might be music, maybe is perhaps an area, and we have lovely small groups, really practical workshops to develop your confidence and competence. Moving on to strand 3 there, which are the methodology subjects, which take up a huge part of the 4 year of the BEd. And, we're really, I suppose, happy with the fact that students engage in all of these throughout the 4 years. So you probably notice them in line with the primary school curriculum. So the first there, you've Momunch na Gaeilge, the teaching of Gaeilge, English methods, the teaching of English, so reading, writing, oral language, teaching of maths, religious education, arts education, so really hands-on visual arts, music and drama. We've SPHE there, physical education, so PE, social, environmental and scientific education, your own professional development, okay, as a teacher, and then ICT and primary teaching education, how you use ICT to support children's learning and teaching. So they're what we call methodology subjects, and they're throughout the 4 years of the degree. Okay, moving on, you've probably lots of questions around school placement. It always seems to be the one that students are interested in. So strand 4 is school placement, and the students complete throughout the 4 years of the BEd 36 weeks of school placement. They're in a variety of placements in different settings, including your local school placement. So just to give you an overview there of what does that look like, we have a very scaffolded, supportive way of introducing you to school placement. So in year 1, you attend observation on Mondays. So you find an infant class, it could be one nearby, maybe a school you went to yourself, and you observe and nearly act as a teacher assistant for 6 Mondays, which the students really love, and they find it really a genuine introduction. Then you move into 3 weeks of placement with the same group of infants, and you teach 3 lessons you can see on the screen there. Moving into year 2, your first, second class, which is a paired placement, again, lovely scaffolded way, you're working with a partner. You do attend different placements, like an academic service placement into a third, fourth class, and a Gael school placement. I'm going to keep moving here onto year 3, which we have our 5th, 6th class, where you attend placement for 3 weeks and you teach 5th, 6th class. You go to an infant placement again. We also have, which the students find really valuable, is a special educational needs experience of 1 week in 3rd year. And then moving into your final year, you complete a long 10-week block, which is a special education needs placement and a mainstream class from 1st to 6th. So you can see how it's a very scaffolded, supportive way of getting out into the classrooms. Just to tell you a little bit about the Erasmus opportunities, in 3rd year from September to Christmas, you have the wonderful opportunity to go off on Erasmus, and lots of our students go off to various locations. You can see them on the screen there, and that's in 3rd year, and you take that full semester away on Erasmus and come back then in January. Okay, I'm going to just one more word on the Culture Gaelic on Loidir in Saklashta. We have a Gaeltacht placement for 2 weeks in 2nd and 3rd year. The students attend the Gaeltacht and improve their Gaelga, and it's very much central to everything we do in the department. I'm going to move on now. I want to introduce you to Jack. Jack is going to give you a little bit of the student perspective, if that's okay, and tell you a little bit about it, and I'll talk to you for a minute when he's finished. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Niamh, and good morning, everybody. It's absolutely brilliant to be here. So yeah, I'm just going to be talking a little bit about the student perspective. So I thought I'd pick up where Niamh began and talk a little bit about the Gael School placement. So in 2nd year, we are attending a Gael school for 1 week. So that's really fun. It's excellent to see how children's language capabilities can develop, especially when they're immersed. Children as young as 5 or 6, it's amazing. And then we also have a wonderful opportunity to participate in an academic service placement. So in 2nd year, I'd done mine in Tala Hospital, and it was just a wonderful experience. It was brilliant, especially working with children who might be either disadvantaged or just not have as much support in the home as others. So plenty of kind of wonderful, diverse opportunities for both personal and professional development. As Niamh mentioned, the Gaeltacht, we go for 2 stints, so it's a month in total, and it's on a crack, being on honest spree, agin, agoni. Just a little bit about, I know Niamh was talking about Erasmus, so just in addition to that, there's a wonderful opportunity in 4th year to go to India. There's a small cohort of students, just as part of the Froebel Hope Foundation. So that was established in 2007, I believe, and it's been going strong ever since. So yeah, each year, a group of 4th years who are just about ready to graduate as primary school teachers will go over to India for a month, and I suppose complete loads of different tasks to support the children and people of the communities in Cabaret. Which is in Calcutta. And then just a little bit about Cabaret, which is our annual Froebel fundraiser. So this is where we would go to one of the local pubs in Maynooth, and we would have a lovely Froebel run event where we would raise funds for the people of India. Just in addition to this, we would also have our Froebel Ball, which might be similar to your 6th year Debs in a sense. We would get together each year, get dressed up, I suppose, and have a really fun night with the aim of fundraising and I suppose just having a really good time. Just in terms of sports, I suppose there's a really strong culture of sport in Maynooth. There's a wide range of sports facilities. So you have sports halls, a number of gyms, indoor and outdoor dressing rooms, various playing pitches. And for anybody who would like to join a team, there's about 32 for you to choose from. So you have soccer, GAA, rugby, golf, snooker, anything you could think of, I suppose. A little bit about the Students' Union. There's plenty of opportunities for you to participate in voting campaigns, opportunities in elections, and of course, there are excellent opportunities to develop personal and professional capacities and to improve your CV. You can probably hear the dogs in the background there. And finally, just a little bit about clubs and societies. So I couldn't believe this when I first started in first year, but there really are the most diverse range of clubs and societies. So you'll have the Disney Society, the Harry Potter Society, the Skiing Society, the Extreme Trampolining Society. So yeah, they're really diverse and there's really is something there for everybody. And if there doesn't happen to be so, you can take the initiative and start your own one, which is always great. Just before I finish, there's a wide range of student supports in place. So there's like a 24-hour tech support. We have our student assistance fund, student health centre. So basically, just to conclude, there are a wide range of supports. And I can guarantee that if you were to choose our course, that you'll have plenty of fun.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jack. And I'm going to finish now. Just up on the screen there are just to give you a sense of the space that we have in the Froebel department. We have wonderful seminar spaces and teaching spaces, dedicated visual art studios, music and drama rooms. We have a wonderful early childhood room and a children's roof garden. So on the final slide, just to give you an example of the career opportunities for graduates, and it's, as you can see, it's not just simply a teacher, there's a range of opportunities there for graduates of the BEd. Thank you very much, and I hope you'll join us. I'll be looking forward to seeing some of you in September. Thank you.
Niamh, thank you very much. And also Jack, thank you. That was really interesting and very helpful. And I know there's a few questions coming in there and Niamh will type in the answers now in the next few moments. So we're going to move on now to secondary school science teaching, maths teaching, computer science teaching. And this is Dr. Zeren Dugancha-Kuchuk. So thank you, Zeren.
Hello all.
So if you can just raise your voice a little bit when you're speaking there, Zeren, just it's a little bit hard to hear you.
Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for your interest to education and becoming a teacher. I'm from Education Department in Maynooth University, and our aim in the department is to train students to become teachers at secondary level. So we have different options in the course. Now I want to talk about this. Sorry for that. I want to have the full screen option.
Hopefully, Zeren, if you click OK on that, it might let you just move down through it.
Okay. 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 Yes, thank you.
Lovely, thank you.
Today in the presentation, I want to little bit talk about our course options because we have a variety of options in the education department and entry requirements for the courses and structures. And the most important component of our course is like school placement and qualifications you can get after graduation and postgraduate options and our contact details. So in education, we have like 4 different options. First one is science with education strand. And the second one is mathematics and computer science with education, mathematics and mathematical physics with education, And as a graduate option, Professional Master of Education, PME. So the requirements, I hope you are more familiar with that. There's a slight difference between science education and computer science and mathematics education, that for mathematics and computer science, you need to have at least H4 mathematics, but the other requirements are totally the same, with slight differences in your science objects in the school. And our whole course is like 4 years of undergraduate BSc and plus 1 year in PME. So at the end of 4 years, you will get your BSc degree, and you can exit and with your BSc Science or BSc Mathematics or Computer Science degree. But to be qualified as a teacher, you have to spend 1 more year in PME, which is normally 2 years. If you have your degree in a Bachelor of Science, and then if you apply for PME, it will take 2 years. But if you continue from our course from BSc, it will take totally 5 years, which looks like an advantage for our students. So for the science education course structure, the first year you will take science courses plus mathematics, and each of them are 15 credits. Plus you will have a module about introduction of education, which is non-credit, but you will have some general ideas about education. We will discuss some big ideas in education, and at the end of first year, you will choose your teaching subjects. So you have to choose 2 subjects, either physics, chemistry, biology, or mathematics, and this will determine which teacher you can be at the Living Cert level. But you will absolutely be able to teach at junior cycle level. So in second, third, and fourth year, the structure is almost the same. You will have 20 credits of education each year, plus you will have any of the 2 subjects for 20 credits. But the structure of the education modules are like you will have more about science methodology, how to teach science, or at Living Cert level and Junior Cert level. You will have those modules in year 3 and year 4, together with school placement. And in year 5, you will have 60 credits. All credits are from education. You will spend most of your time at school being a teacher, being a student teacher, PME student teacher, and at the end of year 5, you will be qualified as a newly qualified teacher. For the mathematics strand, it's like in year 5, there's the modules are like maths and mathematics, physics, computer science, and physics, and education is the same. And here most of the education modules are common with science and computer science strands, but there are some slight differences where you will be taught how to teach mathematics, how to teach Living Cert mathematics in some of our education modules. And you will have maths and math physics for 40 credits, or maths and computer science for 40 credits. So yeah, you have these 2 options after you enter math strand. And PME year is the same. You will have 60 credits of education. In computer science, which is a new program, right now we have year 2 students in the program who are just finishing their year 2 and progressing to year 3. So it's a new program, but I think it will be very popular since computer science is a popular course at secondary level. So we hope that our graduates will have no difficulty to finding jobs at secondary level being teacher, because right now there is less option for computer science to have computer science teachers to have the teaching degree. So for computer science strength in year 1, they will have maths, physics, computer science, and physics, almost the same like maths strength, and the education. Here, starting from year 2, they will have education for 20 credits each year, and maths and computer science for 40 credits in total. And the PME is the same with 60 credits of education in year 5. Yes. And school placements is important because we may get some questions about that. We start school placement in year 2 with observing and some slight tasks by the cooperating teachers, like team teaching, group discussion, or helping with assignments, problem solving. These small tasks our students deal with at schools. And in year 2, they will start teaching, which is an exciting experience for our students. Like, they will spend all Tuesday throughout the year, and they will have the specified classes, and they will teach the same students for 2 or 3 hours every week throughout the year. And in year 4, they will spend 10 school days in September as the school year starts. And I think this is an important experience for our students, and we have positive feedback from our students that they get to know the school environment and they feel more belongingness to their career, to becoming a teacher. And after spending 2 weeks, 2 weeks in total, they will spend their Mondays for the first semester in teaching 3 to 4 hours. And in PME, which is like a very intense teaching program, they will spend their three days at schools, and the 2 days they will spend in college doing their research projects and completing their education modules. So for the qualifications, at the end of year 4, you will have your BSc degree. So you have the option to exit and work in science fields, in science industry with your degree, which is like you will have level 5. But we hope that you will continue in your education to become a teacher. So you need to complete year 5, which is PME 2. You will directly be transferred to PME 2 because you have enough education credits from the BSc program. So at the end of year 5, you will be qualified with level 9 professional master of education degree, and you will be registered as a newly qualified teacher and registered in teaching council, and directly you can go on with teaching and do further studies. So I will talk about further studies in a few slides. So there are many options to become a teacher. So for science strength, you will be able to teach at junior cycle, or according to your teaching subjects that you selected after year 1. Like, you can be biology, maths, biology, chemistry. These are the variations you can have. For mathematics, you are able to teach at junior level or at leaving cert level maths and computer science for computer science. And for mathematics strength, you will be again teach at junior level or maths and applied mathematics at Living Cert level. So these are the exit paths at the end of first year or second year. If you feel like you don't feel like you're gonna be a teacher, you have these options, which I think it's important because not everybody is suitable for becoming a teacher, or they may feel comfortable in teaching. So we have these options. So you can go on your BSc degree with no loss of time or credits. So I think that's an advantage for our course. Or at the end of fourth year, you can work in the science or maths fields with your degree. Or in 2 years' time, you can come back with your BSc degree and complete your PME year and become a teacher. These are your options. So we have some students who continue with the academic pathway, and like since you spent 5 years with a PME degree, you can directly continue with a PhD degree without having a master degree in science or mathematics fields, which is exciting. And we have these kinds of graduates who are very interested in sciences and mathematics, and go on with different fields at the end. So we have some attractive features, but I think Joseph will also talk about that as a student. Like we have very interested, highly motivated students. Like we are, and it motivates us to engage more in lectures. So it's our students make the difference, which are like always good students. And we have a spiral curriculum. So we teach the content in a way that we reverse to the previous years, and like combine the information with all the experience with the school placement, and we progress on that. And I think we have a good community of learners in the education department. We have good relationships with other departments, and we love learning as a whole. And we are interested in professional learning. We have good relations with schools, and we spend so much time at schools in the university. So I think we present a good professional learning environment, and we are interested in curriculum development. We have some lecturers who also in the national curriculum development team. So that's an advantage. And we have different options and so much time spent in school placement. So our students feel a bit more comfortable when they start their profession. So these are our information for context. So I'm Zerrin Doğan Küçük, and I'm the course leader for year 3 and 4. And Jesse Bazul is the course leader for year 1 and 2. So these are our email addresses, if you like, and we are always open to your questions. And I think I may have some time to respond to your questions in the chat box. So if you have further questions, I will respond them after I finished, and I'm finished actually. Is Joseph around?
Thank you very much, Sarah. And yes, Joseph will tell us a little bit of his experiences, maybe of the science education course. Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, Joseph, I'm not hearing you, Joseph. Could you put your volume up, and just we'll see if we can hear you. Thanks. Joseph is just going to put on his headset, I think, there, and we'll see if we can hear him better. In our test run, we could hear him perfectly. So this is a shame now.
Are you able to hear me now? Perfect. Sorry about that. Thanks very much, Darren, for that. Just to introduce again, my subjects are biology and physics. Funnily enough, when I came to college here, I was going to be like, I'm going to be a biology and chemistry teacher. Then I actually fell in love with the subject of physics when I came here. So that there's many different options. And when you come, just don't say, I'm setting my sights on this. There's loads of other opportunities for you to explore here. To be honest, when I was asked to do this, the biggest fear was not that I didn't have anything to talk about, is that I have so much to talk about, is the thing. So mainly what I'll say is you'll never forget your first day teaching out in your school placement. And that was the biggest highlight for me in this BSc education course. It was amazing, and you have such a rush after doing it, and you realize it's like, this is for me, this is the course and the profession that I want to do. Just for other things that happen within education, Zarin already mentioned that in first year you do biology, physics, chemistry, and math. Amazing stuff that's going on there. In biology, we learned how to do DNA profiling, which is a technique used in forensic science. So finding out, taking DNA from a person and figuring out if they've committed a crime. But in this stage, we use plant DNA. Physics, we were working with radioactive samples. Chemistry, you learned how to make aspirin. And we have maths, and maths has the Math Support Center. And even if you feel like your level of maths isn't up to date, they are glad to go through every bit of Leaving Cert material with you. And just to move on a bit more about the course is we're doing a brilliant module at the moment with Dr. Sean Henry. So we're talking about sexism in the classroom, racism, and LGBTQ, all those kind of things. And we're learning about those. And it's really interesting because you wouldn't really think about it and what way to go about it or anything like that. So it's really good. We learn about the different learners and psychology. And at the minute with Zarin, we are doing different ways in how we can teach. So different methodologies, say for biology, physics, chemistry, and maths. So we also are learning about the new junior cert cycle, which I could presume that most of the students here might not have done. It's only recently been introduced. And the main thing is you make the best of friends in the education course. I mean to say, we help each other, we mock each other, and we're always there for each other. And as Jack was saying earlier, there's the clubs and societies, and we have our own education society, which is superb. You can ask for resources, helps. What way do you think I should teach this? I've never taught this before. Would you mind helping me? So it's brilliant. So overall, the main thing for the BSc education, whether it's with maths or computer science, is to help you kind of build your techniques, skills, and take advice from your lectures that you can adapt. And hopefully this can help you become a successful teacher, but also to educate and develop active citizens like yourselves that will appreciate the ethical values of science. And thank you very much for just even being here. It's brilliant to see a great turnout of people.
Great. Thank you very much, Joseph, for your input. That's very helpful. And thank you, Zarin, for the presentation. So again, any questions you have on that presentation, or indeed for Joseph or for any of our students about the student experiences, please type them into the Q&A. And Zarin is available to type any answers for the secondary teaching of science, maths, computer science, and indeed so is Niamh about the primary school teaching. So just get your questions in and they're available now to type back the answers. And I am now going to introduce you to Dr. Leah O'Toole, who's going to share her presentation on early childhood teaching and learning. And then Antoinette Keeley has joined us. Thank you very much, Antoinette. She will talk to you a little bit then as well. So thank you very much, Leah.
Morning, everybody, and thanks so much, Sheila, for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the BA in Early Childhood Teaching and Learning. My name is Leah O'Toole and I'm the Programme Coordinator of the degree. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the background of the degree, the programme details and general information, the kinds of things you might like to learn on the degree, things like fees and application procedures. And I'm delighted to have Antoinette with me here today to give the student perspective. So thanks, Antoinette, for that. Sorry, this is jumping for some reason. Niamh already introduced you to the Froebel department. The BA in Early Childhood Teaching and Learning is located within the Froebel department too. And equally, like the primary degrees, our approaches to teaching and learning are very much influenced by Froebel's ideology around active learning, around student-centered approaches to teaching. So if you're interested in kind of sitting still while experts tell you what to do, it's not the place for you. Our approaches are very much about students really getting engaged in active learning and learning through experience. And we have a very strong focus in particular on practice in early childhood education. Again, a bit of background on the degree. It was initially developed in partnership with Early Childhood Ireland. Initially, we developed a 3-year part-time degree, a level 8 honours degree, in response to really changing situations in the early childhood sector and the need for more flexible progression routes to degree level. So moving forward, we'll have 4 years. All degrees in the early childhood sector are becoming 4-year degrees. And from this September, we will have both part-time and full-time degree options for early childhood education. Now, the part-time degree is going to be still available in the 3-year format for this coming academic year, but that will be the last year that we have the 3-year format. So it's a good opportunity this year to get on board while the part-time degree is still 3 years long. The aim of the degrees really are around professional practice. So we're very much known in the sector for our graduates who become really very, very expert practitioners. Our partnership with Early Childhood Ireland is a very unique aspect of the degree. We're really close to practice in early childhood education, and it's kind of well known across the sector. Again, it's a level 8 degree, both full-time and part-time are level 8 degrees. So there are options for people around coming directly maybe from Leaving Cert, but also from level 5 or level 6 study in early childhood education. I'm going to give you a little overview of the kinds of things you might learn on the programme. So the modules I'm explaining to you here are the ones from the full-time degree, but the modules on the part-time degree are very similar. So if that's the one you're interested in, this will give you a good idea as well about the kinds of things that you'll get to learn. So in each year, there are 2 large modules, reflective practice and professional practice, and they kind of underpin all the learning that happens across the programme in each year. Reflective practice is really the hallmark of good educational practice, and in many other sectors as well, like doctors, nurses, lawyers, social workers would all think about this idea of reflective practice, which means being able to look at your teaching approaches, think about them, think about how you engage with children, and improve your practice based on your reflections. So it's really about critical thinking. It's really key there. So apologies, I don't know why this keeps jumping forward. Sorry about that. And then professional practice, as I said already, practice is really, really central to what we do. So it really underpins everything you learn. And in addition to these 2 big modules, every year you'll study 6 additional modules that are really kind of interesting areas of early childhood education. So things like child psychology, you learn how children learn and develop, or things like inclusion in early childhood education. You learn how to ensure that you can create an early childhood setting that that every child can fit into, rather than making the child fit. We're making our settings fit the child. In second year, then you still have your two big modules, and you move on to other areas of learning. Like one of the ones I find most interesting is the play module. It really fits with Froebel's ideals around children learning through play, but it's a very exciting module. It's a lovely one. I teach learning and development practices, and we look at everything from brain development in early childhood and how the engagement that adults have with children are actually building brains, and how the relationships you have are so crucial for early childhood learning and development. In third year then, excuse me, you can see again the two big modules that are supporting all of the other ones, and you learn you're starting to look at the child in context here. So everything from social justice, ethics and diversity, you know, to understanding the legal and social context of early childhood education. One of the areas that is very interesting for year 4 is the dissertation. So students get to do an action research project whereby they engage very mindfully with their practice and research their own practice and values. It's a kind of key element of the 4th year. So some general information for you then. On the part-time degree, students come into us one evening per week from 5 till 9 at night. Usually for first and second year, that's a Tuesday, and for third year, that's a Thursday. In addition, they do one Saturday per month and 2 block weeks per academic year where they're in for the full week. And the full-time degree then is run along the usual university academic schedule. So you can check that out on the website to find out, you know, when we would start and finish. One thing to note is that full attendance really is required. So it's a really strong element of it, because we like to really strongly engage with our students. In terms of fees, the full-time degree is funded by the Higher Education Authority, and so the usual registration fee of in and around €3,000 per year applies, but obviously that's subject to change. But what's interesting about the part-time degree, fees are payable by the student, but as you can see, the reality of that is that it can make little difference, because the fees that are paid by the students for the part-time degree are in and around the same cost as what you would pay for registration on a fully funded degree. It's worth note, excuse me, I'm losing my voice here, sorry. It's worth noting that placement is a very central part of what we do on the degree. So similar to the other education degrees, which talked about the really deep learning that happens while out in schools, we find the same, that it's when you're actually out in early childhood settings that you really understand what it is to be an early childhood educator. If you are working in the sector at the moment and are interested in the part-time degree, you can use your own setting for work placement, but there will be an alternative experience in another setting for 15 hours. And those who are looking to come into the degree with no experience in the sector, we have a very well-connected and a really, really good placement coordinator who will help you ensure that you get a very quality experience in that regard. In terms then of criteria for application, like Niamh said, it's very hard to predict sometimes what the points will be, because as you may know, it depends on demand, so they can change over time. But a good kind of ballpark to aim for if you're thinking about this degree is around 347 points. That's, you know, in and around the area it's been up to now. You'll need 6 Leaving Cert subjects, including Irish and English, and you need to be able to complete your placement. For mature applicants then, you need to be over 21 years of age. Again, you need to be able to complete your placement, and you may have to do an interview. The FETAC QQI route then is for students who have a full childcare award at level 5 or level 6, and again, you may need to do an interview. And it's worth noting that all of our students, regardless of which route you take, will need to do secure Garda vetting. So why would you like to apply for this degree as opposed to others? Well, I suppose it's really, as I've mentioned already, recognised in the sector as a very high quality degree. Our graduates are very much sought after in early childhood settings, and they really allow our students to lead learning and development in early childhood education and care, but also beyond practice into things like local development agencies, national government, voluntary organisations. I mean, we have graduates who work for the likes of TUSLA, for the Office of the Ombudsman for Children, for the Department of Children, the Department of Education. And equally, Niamh talked you through the whole area of the PM-Ed. And the BA is a very, very good base degree for applying for the PM-Ed for primary teaching. So I suppose you may be thinking, well, as program leader, she would say all these nice things about the program, wouldn't she? So I'm really gratified to Antoinette, our current second year student, who's here today to give you the student perspective on it. So I might hand over to you there, Antoinette, if that's okay.
Hi, Leah. Thanks a million. As Leah said there, I'm a second year student studying the early childhood teaching and education. I've been working in early education for the last 20 years. And as you do when you're in something, you tend to get stuck in a rut. So it was time to get the finger out and do my degree. And to be honest, it's probably one of the best things I could say I've honestly done so far in my life, both on a personal and a professional level. Our course has taught me the importance, as Leah has said, play in children's learning and development, and to bring the experiences from the theory back to practice, which is for the children, it's really is, it's fundamental. Our class that we're at the moment, we're a mixture of young girls straight out of leaving cert and some mature students. We all bring different values, ideas and cultures and experiences, which again, it's essential for our learning. We have some fabulous resources available to us in the library, the Writing Centre, and definitely our fellow students. We use WhatsApp groups to connect, ask questions and look after each other. We learn from the course what good practice is. We can bring it back, and it's all relevant to what we're doing on a daily basis. Working in early education, no 2 days are the same and no 2 children are the same. So it allows us to learn, make those changes and bring them back from quality proofing to creativity. And it supports us the importance of getting to know and collaborating with our children, the parents and the staff. At the end of the day, if you're passionate about the early years, you'll be passionate about learning. And this degree definitely helps us to do that. As Jack spoke earlier on about sports and social and things, experiences that are available. So they're available to part-time students too. The part-time course suited me because it meant I could continue working full-time in the sector. So rounding up, yeah, as I said, if you're passionate about early ed, you'll be passionate about learning, and the degree is ideal for us all. Thanks, Liam.
Thanks a million, Antoinette. It's great to get that insider perspective on the degree. So just lastly, before I finish up, I've already mentioned the Professional Master of Education as a potential postgraduate route, but just to note that there are also 2 really nice masters in the department, a Master of Education Research and Practice, where you develop your research skills and become a really proficient expert practitioner researcher. And then the Master of Education with an Early Childhood Specialism is another option there, as well as the route into primary school teaching through our undergraduate degree. So that's it from me. Thank you so much. If you have any further questions, just don't hesitate to get in touch. That's my email address on the screen there, and it was on the screen there. And then we are also fairly active on Twitter at EarlyBA. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you for an excellent presentation, and thank you so much, Antoinette, for giving us the student perspective there. There have been questions coming in there on the Q&A, and Leah, I'll call them out because we don't really have a lot of time for typing answers. Do boys do this course, or is it only girls? That's one of the
course,
questions.
we're delighted to accept everybody on our course. I mean, I suppose traditionally early childhood education and primary education have been fairly female dominated, but that as society is changing, that's changing too. And we're delighted to build up the male presence. I think it's hugely important for young children to have male role models and to engage with men, and it's hugely important for men to see these careers as being applicable to them. So absolutely, yeah, all genders welcome.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Leah. And the next question here, if wanting to take a career in kindergarten teaching, would you take the early childhood course?
Yeah, that's exactly the route that you should take. So our graduates are qualified to teach in early childhood settings from birth to 6 years. So that includes things like preschools, creches, community settings, etc. Yeah, so if you wanted to be a kindergarten or preschool teacher, this would be a good route to go. Now, if the person means kindergarten in terms of junior and senior infants in primary school, you wouldn't be qualified to teach there with this degree. But as I've said already, it's a very, very good base degree for going ahead into the PM Ed to qualify for primary teaching.
Perfect. Thank you, Leah. So you've just 1 or 2 minutes now. If you'd like to type in any other question for any of our students, or indeed to do with primary teaching, secondary school science teaching, or early childhood, please just type in your question now. And maybe in the meantime, is there anything extra any one of our panel might like to add in, or anything they didn't cover and would love a chance to mention? Actually, here we go. A question: how does this course cater for maths and Gaeilge in primary teaching? Now that came from Catherine. So Catherine, are you referring to the early childhood course? If this is a question for early childhood, how does this course cater for maths and Gaeilge in primary teaching?
Yeah, well, if it's for the early childhood degree, what I would say is that there are some really interesting approaches to early literacy skills and early numeracy skills and early language development skills that we would look at a lot in our degree. A lot of them are based around play and oral language and other kinds of approaches like that. But we do have specific modules that address these areas. I don't know, maybe Niamh might like to answer from the perspective of the primary teaching degree.
Yeah, thanks, Leah. So in the primary teaching degree in BEd, we cover Gaeilge and maths in the methodology section of the course. So Momuj na Gaeilge, which is a really hands-on small group teaching of Gaeilge. And again, play features very much as part of that, and maths methods as well. So the teaching of maths, and again, hands-on small group workshop based. So by the end of the 4-year BEd, you are fully competent and confident to teach Gaeilge and maths to all primary level children.
Thank you very much. And a final question here, and we'll just wrap it up very briefly after that. This is a question for Dr. O'Toole. Could you please give a rough idea of expected study time per week for the BA in early childhood part-time? I work full-time in a Montessori preschool and after school.
Yeah, so our part-time degree is really built around people like this applicant, this potential applicant. It was designed for people, the part-time degree was designed for people who are working in the sector. So, I suppose I could offer reassurance that it is very possible to do the degree and work at the same time. That's what it's designed for. You would need to be in college for 4 hours once a week, 1 Saturday a month on top of that, plus 2 block weeks. And obviously there would be other reading tasks and kind of assessment tasks outside of that. It's hard to put an exact figure on it because, for example, if you have to read a journal article, it might take one person an hour, it might take somebody else 45 minutes, so there would be a requirement to do work outside of those 4 hours, but it is designed in a way that it's very possible to work and do the degree. I don't know, doesn't Antoinette have time to add to that about that balance?
Hi, yeah, it is. We have students that have really young children. Then we have students who have children grown up, and we've all managed with the support of each other to get to. You do have to do a little bit of work outside of those hours, but it is manageable because most of us are all working full time. within settings as well. So it's about juggling and prioritizing and looking after yourself first, but definitely it's achievable.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This brings us nicely to the last moment of our webinar. Thank you to our audience today for joining us. It's been a very informative webinar, I think you'll agree. And I'd like to thank Niamh Fortune, Dr. Zarin Dukancha-Kuchuk, Dr. Leo Toole, and our 3 students who've added an extra layer of information. So thank you, Jack McCormick, Joseph Hennessy, and Antoinette Keeley. So thank you very much. And please note that there are recorded presentations on the website today for Open Day, and they're available to be accessed all this weekend. And also there'll be a live web chat between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and there'll be a specific education web chat. So please type in any of your other questions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, Sheila.